Welcome back to the deep dive. You know the drill. We take your sources, your articles, all that info you've gathered, and we boil it down. We find those key nuggets, the stuff that really matters, basically giving you a shortcut to being properly informed. Today we're diving into something super practical, really foundational for any young athlete. Pre-game nutrition for youth volleyball players. Our mission for you listening is to take all this info and turn it into clear, actionable advice. What should they actually eat and drink before a game? Let's make pregame prep less guesswork, more strategy.
Exactly. And it's not just about, having energy, it's about sustaining it. Volleyball demands explosive power, quick changes of direction, often for hours over multiple matches. Proper fueling means peak performance, sharp focus, and fighting off fatigue, especially in those nail-biting final points. So yeah, this deep dive is really tailored for you and your interest in helping young volleyball players play their best.
Okay, let's unpack this then before we even get to the food. Water. Simple H2O. How critical is just drinking enough? We hear it all the time, but how big a difference does it really make on the court?
Oh, it's absolutely the bedrock. You can't overstate it. And our sources really drive this home. Think about this quote from Cart Kiraly, the volleyball legend. He was talking about playing in serious heat and humidity. He said, "How much we have to hydrate out here. I think the most I've ever taken down in one day of fluids is 5 gallons a gallon per match. If we didn't replace our fluids, we would probably keel over and die."
Wow, 5 gallons. Okay, that's intense.
It is. Now, obviously, youth players aren't usually losing fluids at that extreme rate, but Kiraly's point is crucial. Even mild dehydration, the kind you might not even consciously feel, can mess things up. It can reduce jump height, slow reaction time, impair coordination. And in volleyball, those tiny differences, milliseconds, inches, they matter hugely for a serve, a block, getting to a dig.
Right, those small margins make the difference between a point won or lost. So, okay, beyond just staying upright, what's the basic science? What is water actually doing in there?
Fundamentally, it's like the body's operating system. It regulates temperature sweating, cools you down, preventing overheating during those long rallies. It's the transport system. It carries nutrients like glucose for energy to the muscles. It carries oxygen through the blood. If you're low on water, your blood volume actually drops, making your heart work harder. And, really important, it helps flush out waste products, like lactic acid, that build up and cause muscle fatigue, so feeling sluggish, losing focus, cramping up. Often the first place to look is hydration levels.
Makes total sense. Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting for a lot of parents and players. Sports drinks. Are they a must-have for youth volleyball? Or is plain water usually the better bet? Are there downsides?
That's a really good question, and yeah, there's nuance here. It's not an all-or-nothing thing. For shorter activities, like, say, a practice that's under an hour, or maybe less intense drills, plain water is generally perfectly fine. Your body probably isn't losing enough electrolytes or burning through its carb stores fast enough to need more than just water.
So, quick practice, standard drills, stick with water. Simple enough.
Exactly. But sports drinks do offer real advantages when things get more demanding. Think prolonged activity, like a long, intense practice, or especially tournament play where you have multiple games in a day, or playing in really hot and humid conditions where you're sweating a lot. They're designed to do two main things. First, replace electrolytes, sodium, potassium, magnesium, that you lose in sweat. These are vital for nerve function, muscle contractions. Losing too much can lead to cramps, poor coordination. Bad news for hitting or setting. Second, they provide carbohydrates, basically quick, easily accessible energy. As your body's natural glycogen stores deplete during long matches, those carbs give you a boost, helping maintain performance and muscle function. They fight off that energy slump.
Okay, so it's about matching the drink to the situation. Heavy sweating, long duration, multiple games, sports drinks become more valuable. Light practice, probably just extra sugar they don't need.
Precisely. That's the main pitfall, really. Kids drinking them like juice when water would do the job perfectly well. It's unnecessary sugar, unnecessary calories. It's about using them strategically. But the universal tip for all players is just proactive hydration. The simplest thing, always carry a water bottle. Make it easy to access. And don't wait until you feel thirsty. Thirst is actually a lagging indicator. You're often already a bit dehydrated by then. Sip consistently before, during breaks, after. Keep those fluid levels topped up.
Right, make it a habit. Easy access is key. Okay, so hydration's covered, foundational. Now let's talk actual fuel, the food. What should young players be eating before a game to make sure they have the energy they need? Avoid hitting that wall mid-match.
Yeah, the pregame snack or meal is super important. It's about providing a steady stream of nutrients. It tops off those energy stores, keeps performance optimal, and gives you that convenient energy boost to prevent fatigue setting in. Volleyball has those intense bursts, then maybe a short rest, then another burst. Having readily available fuel in the system is crucial for that pattern. You want those glycogen stores full.
Makes sense. So what should be in those snacks?
Yeah.
Is it just load up on carbs, or is there a better mix? And like, what kind of carbs are we talking about?
Good question. The sources point towards a balanced approach being best. A mix of carbs, protein, and yeah, even some healthy fats. Carbohydrates are the main energy source, no doubt. They're the body's go-to fuel for those explosive volleyball moves, jumping, sprinting, hitting hard. They convert to glucose quickly for power. But the type of carb matters a lot. Simple sugars, like candy, give you that quick spike and then often a crash. Not ideal. Complex carbohydrates, think whole grains, fruits, vegetables, they're like time-release fuel. They break down slower, providing sustained energy, preventing those blood sugar roller coasters. That helps maintain energy throughout a long match.
Okay, so focus on complex carbs for lasting energy.
Right.
What about protein and fats then?
Right. Protein's role isn't primarily immediate energy. It's more about muscle repair and feeling satisfied or satiety. A bit of protein helps stabilize blood sugar and keeps the player feeling fuller for longer, preventing hunger pangs distracting them on court. And healthy fats, they also contribute to satiety and provide a very long-term energy source. But they digest slower, so you need to be careful about when you eat them relative to the game. Too close, and it can feel heavy.
Gotcha. Can you give us some examples that stick? Can you give us some specific snack ideas that hit that balance, complex carbs, some protein, maybe healthy fats that are actually practical for a young player?
Definitely. Let's make it concrete. One really great option is a Greek yogurt parfait. Super easy. Layer plain Greek yogurt, some mixed berries, fresh or frozen, and maybe a sprinkle of low-sugar granola or some chopped nuts. Why it works. Greek yogurt is packed with protein for satiety and muscle support. Berries offer antioxidants to fight inflammation, plus fiber and natural sugars for energy. The granola or nuts add complex carbs, healthy fats, and a nice texture. It's a real powerhouse.
Okay, that sounds pretty good, actually. Easy to put together, too. What's another solid option?
Another one maybe sounds a bit more involved, but is really effective, is whole grain toast with avocado and smoked salmon. The whole grain toast gives you those essential complex carbs for sustained energy. Avocado brings healthy, monounsaturated fats, good for overall health, and helps with feeling full. And the smoked salmon, high-quality protein, plus those amazing omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3s are great for reducing inflammation and can even support brain function, keeping them sharp mentally on the court. It's a really well-rounded choice.
Those are great practical examples. Now, the million-dollar question. Timing and quantity. How much should they eat, and crucially, when? We've all heard horror stories or seen players looking sluggish because they ate too much too close to game time.
Oh, timing and portion size are absolutely strategic. They can genuinely make or break performance. It's not just what you eat, but when and how much. Let's think about it like a timeline leading up to the first serve. Maybe 3-4 hours before. That's the time for a proper meal. This is where you'd have a good portion of complex carbs, maybe some whole grain pasta, brown rice, sweet potato with some lean protein like grilled chicken or fish, and some veggies. This gives plenty of time for digestion and really topping off those glycogen stores.
Okay, the main meal well in advance.
Exactly. Then, about 1-2 hours before the game, that's the window for that power snack we were talking about, like the yogurt parfait or the avocado toast. It should be smaller than the main meal, easier to digest.
Okay.
Still focusing on complex carbs for that sustained release, plus a bit of protein. It keeps the fuel coming without making them feel stuffed or heavy.
Right, a top-up, not a full tank refill.
Precisely. And then maybe 30 minutes before, or even during breaks between games in a tournament, you might have a very small, quick digesting carb source. Think half a banana, a few orange slices, maybe a small handful of pretzels. This is just about a quick, immediate energy boost to prevent blood sugar dips during intense play.
So it's kind of layered fueling, makes sense. But what about portion control, especially for that snack 1-2 hours before? You mentioned avoiding overeating.
Yes, absolutely vital. Listen to your body or encourage young athletes to listen to theirs. Pay attention to hunger and fullness cues. Don't just eat because it's time. That 1-2 hour snack should be just that, a snack, not another full meal. Eating too much, especially foods high in fat or fiber, right before playing, diverts blood flow to the stomach for digestion, away from the muscles. That can lead to cramps, discomfort, that sluggish feeling. Smaller, more frequent snacks often work better than one big pre-game load-up. And a golden rule, seriously. Never try a brand new food or snack right before an important game or tournament. Stick with familiar foods that you know sit well during practice. Game day is not the time for experiment.
That's such a crucial point. Avoid game day surprises. So putting this all together, what does this mean for you, the listener? Every athlete is different, right? How do you personalize this?
That is maybe the most critical piece of advice. Personalization. You have to listen to your body. Nutritional needs? How quickly someone burns energy, what foods they tolerate well. It varies hugely from person to person. What works perfectly for a teammate might cause stomach issues for someone else. So we really encourage experimenting during training. Try out different timings for that pre-practice meal or snack. Try different portion sizes of these recommended foods. Pay close attention to how you feel afterwards. Energy levels, any stomach upset, how is performance? Maybe even jot down a few notes. This trial and error during practice is how you find your optimal pregame strategy.
So it's not about finding one magic formula, but about building self-awareness, figuring out what works for your individual body. What if someone's really struggling to figure it out or wants to get, really dialed in?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're finding it tricky, or if a young athlete has specific dietary needs, maybe allergies, intolerances, or just persistent stomach issues during play, then seeking professional guidance is a great idea. A registered dietitian, or even better, a sports nutritionist, can offer incredibly valuable personalized support. They can look at the individual's training load, their metabolism, their specific challenges, and create a truly customized plan. It's a smart investment in their performance and their long-term health.
Really sounds like these aren't just pregame tactics, but part of a bigger picture of healthy eating for athletes.
They absolutely are. And our sources actually touch on this broader idea of mindful eating. It's not just for athletes, but it's particularly useful for them. It involves things like eating slowly, giving your brain time to register fullness, really paying attention to your body's hunger and fullness signals, not just eating out of habit or boredom. Minimizing distractions when you eat, so putting phones away, turning off the TV lets you focus on the food and how it makes you feel, using all your senses to appreciate the food, practicing gratitude for the nourishment, and importantly, being non-judgmental about food choices. It's not about good or bad foods, but about fueling effectively. For an athlete, developing this mindfulness really sharpens their ability to understand how different foods affect their body, which is key for optimizing not just pregame fuel, but recovery too. It builds a healthier, more sustainable relationship with food overall.
Wow, that's a fantastic way to frame it. So recapping today's deep dive, we hit the absolute necessity of hydration, Curly's 5 gallons, putting it in perspective, and the crucial difference between water and sports drinks depending on the situation. Then we moved into strategic fueling balanced snacks, focusing on complex carbs but including protein and healthy fats. We got specific with things like the yogurt parfait and salmon toast, understanding the why behind them. And critically, we talked timing, portion control, avoiding game day experiments, and the huge importance of personalization, listening to your body. Plus, connecting it all to mindful eating for lifelong benefits.
Exactly. And the takeaway for you listening is this. By consistently making these informed nutritional choices, you're doing way more than just preparing for the next match. You're building a stronger, more resilient body and mind. You're creating habits that boost performance and support overall well-being long after you step off the volleyball court. So the real question is, how will you use this knowledge to make your next game and really every day a win for your health and performance?
Fantastic food for thought. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into pre-game nutrition for youth volleyball. We'll catch you next time.